In an increasingly globalized world, how does a country stand out? This is a country made of land and sea, a crossroad between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic, a link between cultures and continents. This is the homeland of talented people, a founding member of the Euro, a gateway to a market of 500 million people. This is the home of a world leader in fast and ultra-fast chargers for electric vehicles, a country that produces more than half of its energy out of renewable sources, a privileged partner for innovation. Every day, more and more companies come to work and think with us. We also produce cars, but above all, we think cars. Think the green road ahead of us, and think the future. Innovation is taking the country to new frontiers. This is the world's biggest cork producer, transforming cork for the most traditional and revolutionary uses, from the top of the most precious wine bottles in the world to thermal shields, rockets, and spaceships destined for space. This is a leading tourist destination in the world, a competitive and sustainable location, a top country in providing technological services, host of great international events integrated in some of the most important value chains in the world, that attracts and keeps some of the most talented people. So how does a country stand out in an increasingly globalized world? Well, I guess it's by welcoming the world and bridging cultures. Portugal, talented and welcoming.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our weekly international prop chat on every Wednesday, 3 p.m. GMT plus 8 at Facebook or YouTube Live. I'm Mandy Chan from IQI Global, your host of the day. On behalf of IQI Global, the Asia's biggest real estate and investment agency, also a member of JUI IQI, I would like to thank everyone for supporting our program. Our webinar usually features some of the best investments or projects in their various hotspots around the globe. If you like our program, which you think that is benefiting you, do invite and share it with your friends. Should you have any comments and questions, feel free to leave it at the comment box and we will revert to you shortly. Today, we shall continue to focus on one of the beautiful countries of Europe, which is Portugal. Well, we are very honored to invite a migration specialist who is the only migration advisor from Malaysia that was awarded with the top 25 global migration agency CEO from U Global Immigrations magazine based in US. Let's put our hand together and welcome Mr. Desmond Ng, Managing Director of Global Migration Solutions, to share with us the introductions of the Portugal investment landscape and Golden Visa. Hi, Desmond. How are you?
Hi, Mandy. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the introduction.
Maybe
I'm
you
good.
want to, yes. Maybe you want to do a short introductions of yourself before we kickstart the topics.
Sure. So I'm Desmond Ang, the founder of Global Migration Solutions, with an office based here in Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, Vietnam, and Hong Kong. So we have been in this industry for the last 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and thank you for having us today.
Okay. The floor is on yours. You can actually start now.
Sure. So I'm really, really excited to share about the programs with everyone out there today, and and I hope that you enjoy what you'll be hearing today. and find an interest and learn about these programs and the country well. So Mandy, I would like to get my slides up and yeah. Thank you. So just to kickstart the presentation, just allow me to give a short introduction about Global Migration Solutions. So this is a company that has been around for the last 17 years, and we focus on the right migration practices, and we take very seriously with regards to the trust and the services and our commitment for our client, likewise our business partner, as well as our brand over the years. Just a little bit of our milestone. Over the last 17 years, we have helped more than 12,000 family migrating successfully, and we have been able to achieve an extremely high successful rate, which have landed us to be the only one migration that is being awarded with the recognition over the years. Now, so this is the awards that we have moved ourselves from being the top 100 globally to now top 25. So this is our presence, and either you are from Hong Kong, you are from Philippines, or you are from Indonesia, or you're from anywhere in the world, we are here to help you out. Now, let's talk about this
Okay.
Australia Portugal Golden Visa.
Yeah, can you give us a brief introduction of Portugal for those who might not be familiar with Portugal? And for those audience who join us, if you know Portugal and you love these countries, please press 1 so that we will know that you really like this country. Okay, Desmond?
Sure. Well, I'm really, I think how excited I am, when it comes to the Portugal Golden Visa. And I think there are so much more to share about the country. And you have already seen what is in front of your screen. The country has scored many amazing index globally. But I think I wanted to share more than just what you have seen, on the screen. So for those who has not been to Portugal, the country has been a member of European Union for 36 years. And this is indeed a very authentic country. It is modern, yet it is an European that is still comes with a lot of old charm about it. Yeah, it is historical as a foreigner. Portugal has such a huge history behind, and it is for such a small country with 11 million in population size.
Wow, okay. So when come to Europe's, right, many people think that about some other European countries, but where is it and how is the infrastructure in terms of the connectivity as well?
Yeah, so talking about I would this is a very nice question, because I think when people visiting Europe and they might not think about Portugal as the first choice, which includes myself. But for many years back, I had the chance to visit Portugal, and that actually changed my whole perceptions after visiting the countries. And I didn't thought about even extending our services to cover Portugal Golden Visa, like what we have been doing for the past few years. So I think this Portugal, the country is I would say this is probably the most undiscovered country within the Western Europe. And the accounting firm Pricewaterhouse has called this country as the Europe best kept secret. And I'm going to share, the reason why. I think when we talk about the country, right, the infrastructure fund was pouring in, being a member of European Union. The infrastructure fund was pouring in, to connect the country from north to south, east to west, and highway were all being built. Airport were, increasing the capacity, and the connectivity was improving within the country. So when we talk about the connectivity, it was increasing since many years back, and not only within the country but outside the country. So with the airport that increased the capacity, for example, the Lisbon airport, it is just 7 to 9 hours away from America, and Middle East, and it is just 1.5 hours away from UK. So that gives you an idea on how strategic the Portugal is. Yeah, Mandy.
Yep. So therefore, it's like over the past 10 years, right, the country actually grew to become the most potential country for foreigner investment as well as for the tourism boom. So can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, I'm not sure how many people out there, that you are listening now have been to Portugal. But, if you have not, then my advice to you is your next think about Portugal as your next travel destination. And I'm
Yeah, and
sure
the new borders is opening right now. So
yes, yes, and I know Mandy and Portugal, IQI is arranging a trips, and you are going to be visiting Portugal very soon. And I think from the statistic, right, every two out of the three people that has visited Portugal choose to return back. And in fact, this is the top not only for migration purposes, but the top country within Europe that has been seen in terms of the tourism trending. So
mhm.
the Portugal is trending as a tourism country today. Yeah. And Portugal is elected for the third time as the best tourist, destination globally in the world. Can you believe that? So it has amazing restaurant with really talented chef, cool boutique hotels around the country, lots of interesting products and brands emerging from every part of Portugal. So, talking about brands and products, and Portugal is the leading arena of producing the sustainable energy productions. It produces about 30% of the gross final energy demand. For example, in the year 2019, yeah, mainly from the hydropower and the wind generation. So for 1 month, Portugal has produced enough energy to sustain the whole country, and with the remaining 11 months to supply, across globally. So everyone know by now how Portugal is beautiful country. So you have over 900 kilometers beautiful coastline, and you have amazing island like Madeira, which came
Mhm.
out as the number one island in the world, and you have olive oil plantation, scenic vineyard protected by UNESCO as a World Heritage, beautiful rivers and mountain, and that is one of the reasons why Portugal came out as the world number one travel destination.
Wow, Desmond, you sounded so great that it's like I can't wait to visit Portugal. So imagine how beautiful this country is, and there's lots of tourist spots that you can actually visit. Okay, beside that, the country also famous for the quality lifestyle, and as it is ranked number one for expat, retiree, and migrants in today's trend. Why? You probably wants to share with us.
Certainly. So, Portugal is getting so well recognized for other factors as well. But I think, in terms of the lifestyle, it is one of the important one when one's considering where to go to, yeah, or where to move their family member to. So the quality of the lifestyle over the years, the country has attracted American, British, Brazilian, French, as well as Asian, who has made Portugal their second home. Yeah. And talking about the lifestyle, I think it is also about the convenience. So we have late night shopping, Sunday shopping. I guess this is one of the question that always, I heard over the times, if I were to move to this European country or this Western country, how late is the shopping mall going to be operating until? Yeah, because it is so, I think it is an Asian culture that, we are still spending our times late night shopping. Yeah.
Yep.
And amazingly, Portugal has everything that you need. So the ease of access to quality services is important. Yeah. And to be valued, lifestyle is also about living in suitable weather. Yeah. Not too hot, not too cold in Portugal, and a lot of sunshine, clean air, not to be underestimated. Lifestyle is about to access to the nature, quality food, living in a safe and secure environment, and the Portugal rank highly in all these points.
Wow. Okay, that sounds really great. How about educations? On the other hand, is language going to be a problem? I mean, usually
Yes,
people will say about this. I mean, and will ask this one of the common questions that they will ask.
yeah. I think when you're considering European countries, as versus Australia, Canada, America, and they are thinking how is language is going to be a barrier. Now, from
Mhm.
another perspective, I think by giving your children an opportunity and environment to learn a second language is such a opportunity. Just for example, for those who is learning English, for example, and without an environment that speaks English, communicate in English, is going to be making the learning process much more difficult.
Mhm.
But when it comes to Portugal, right, I would think that that environment do give your children an opportunity to learn Portuguese, but that language has now been a barriers and a problems in Portugal when it comes to communicating in English. It is such a great place. The country is such a great place for education. So Portugal University produce high number of engineers every year, IT graduates, architect, scientists. Yeah. And they are needed, especially today in today's world, by many international companies that are thinking to move to Portugal now, or those who has set up the companies in Portugal. Yeah.
Mm.
Foreign students who are coming to Portugal are thinking to not only the study but also attracted by the programs that taught in English by this top university. Yeah. So the quality of education, is a combination of quality of the education and the lifestyle that attracted all these students to go over to Portugal. Yeah. If your child is at the primary and secondary school level, you could choose to send them to the international school, yeah,
Mhm.
which you're probably paying 8,000 euro to 10,000 euro per year that
Mhm.
taught in English, or you do consider sending them to the local school that's free, where they can pick up the Portuguese and gel into the community easily. So to live there, it is one of the European countries where you can communicate easily without having to speak the Portuguese, as 90% of them speak English.
Wow. Okay. So in other words, communication would not be an issue in Portugal.
Yes, you come back, and tell me after you have visited Portugal, and then, I'm sure that every one of you are going to love it. The whole team is going to love it, Mandy.
Yep. And I heard Portugal is called the Silicon Valley of Europe. Is it wonderful for the countries? And maybe you want to elaborate a little bit on this?
Sure. I think a lot of people are not aware about this, but I think it is a good question, Mandy. Ever since the world largest web summit announced Lisbon as the
Mhm.
host city for in 2016 to host the web summit for the next 10 years. So this has helped Portugal to receive a lot of attention and recognition as the Silicon Valley of Europe. You can see companies like Google, companies like Huawei, and many other countries, other international companies has chose to set up, their European headquarter in Portugal, and the growth is going to be continued. Yeah, why is it so? Because the Portuguese government has introduced so many administrative to simplify the processes, the procedures, to remove some of the red tape when it comes to venture capital, when it comes to private equity company, and one who is looking at setting out the business in Portugal. So the government has, over the years, has introduced a series of investment initiatives and incentives over the years. For example, the Portugal Golden Visa that we are talking today, is one of it. Yeah, the startup visa, the tax incentive, we kept the tax rate flat at 20% if you are the tax residents of Portugal. Yeah. And when it comes to 20% of flat tax rate, this is so competitive. This is, so much lower compared to many other in the region. Yeah. The government co-investment scheme is one of the interesting thing, for startup. The government participate in all this startup, and no doubt all this incentive has brought both financial and human capital over the years, via foreign investor, immigrants, and billions of dollars has flocked into the country.
Wow. Okay. So before we start the Portugal Golden Visa in a little bit more detail, what is the last things that would you like to share about Portugal?
Well, I think the human aspect, because I think this is one of the very important question that one would ask me, hi Desmond, how welcome are these people, when I move over, the local people towards the migrants. And I must say that, I like to touch upon an emotional aspect and a reason, to address your last question. And I think that I have observed and gathered from the clients who has moved over, Portugal ranked third on the Global Peace Index. And guess what? Number one is from Iceland. Number two is from New Zealand. One is, full of ice, too cold. One is, a country that full of sheep. And Portugal is where, is strategically located, and yet, it ranked number, the top three globally in terms of the Global Peace Index.
Mhm.
And I think generally Portuguese people are very welcoming. They show foreigner warmth and hospitality, and which why the hospitality industry is doing so well in Portugal. Yeah. And they are family centric people. Yeah, in the sense that they love and care and support their children. That sounded so much like our Asian culture, right? So which
Yep.
reflects in the society. People are respectful in Portugal in terms of the elderly. So the people look after their parents and their grandparents, and they value their advice, and they spend times with the elderly. So Portugal is really a very open and tolerant and liberal society. So people welcome, people from different countries, different religion, different belief, and different colors. And I think this worth a lot in today's generation. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So I hope that this introduction gives everyone a bit of uh, overview about the country, about the people, about the opportunity, and we have spoke about investment. We have
Mhm.
spoke about how the country grow. We spoke about the language. We spoke about the uh, the 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 suitability in terms of the lifestyle, and look at how many company, all these international companies that has now set up their office in Portugal. Yeah. And and I hope that this is a good introduction about the countries.
Okay, so I think right now we come to the main content of this webinar. So would you want to introduce the popular Portugal Golden Visa to us?
Yes, thanks, Wendy. Yeah, well, let me give everyone out there, a directions, when you learn about this Portugal Golden Visa, and this is to help you to remember how powerful and how popular is this visa today. This visa was introduced back in 2012 by Portuguese government. It is such a reliable and highly regulated programs. So whatever that is being requested for the visa application is all backed and supported with the full sets of law and regulation. Yeah. And what is important about these programs, and we talk about the initiative from the Portuguese government earlier. Yeah. And one of it is this golden visa. So the intent and the objective of these programs is to make the entry requirements achievable and and acceptable by all the investor and migrants. And importantly, and what do I mean by here is, that investment amount is just starting from as low as 280,000 euro. Yeah. And there are so many types of investment, a few category of investment that suit you for you to choose from. And it is importantly, this is a program that's easy to maintain. So we're going to talk about that. What does it mean by easy to maintain? Just to think about it, if you're not ready to move over yet, and these programs, after the approval, require you to spend just as little as 14 days every 2 years. So it is easy, doesn't cause a problems or headache for you to maintain, as compared to many other countries elsewhere, having to spend times uh, in in the country is always a challenge. So in Hong Kong, they call Yimankam, and here in Malaysia or Singapore, they say they're going to be prisons for some times. Whereas when we talk about this golden visa, and this require you to relatively spend only 14 days in every two years, right? So this is also a very family-friendly programs because it does allow you to include your spouse, then your children. Now, when we talk about children, there's no age limit. So long your children is single, studying, financially depending upon you, and they are allowed to be included. Then you can also include your parents and your parents-in-law. So it is going to be a big family member if you wish to get everybody a Portugal Golden Visa. Yeah, this is the programs for you to consider. And this programs comes immediately with the healthcare and education benefits. Importantly, this programs is one of the easiest programs for you to access and gain the EU citizenship. Yeah. 5 years, we are going to talk about that. 5 years later, you have the EU passport. That is the end game, Mandy. So that is the end game. Most of our clients are using Portugal as the entry point to gain the access to the EU passport. Because with the EU passport, it is not just the Portugal, but the rest of the 26 country within the Schengen area. Just to think about it, your children do have a choice to study at any of the university in this 26 country with the subsidized education. Upon the completion of their study, they have rights to live and work at any of these 27 countries in the Schengen area. So that is the directions, that I would like to give everyone out there.
Wow, since you say that there are many options available for this investment, so perhaps, and one of it is actually on the residency visa. So maybe you can just tell us what we can invest. I mean, I'm very excited after hearing all the freedoms and the beauty of the country. So let's talk about the main point then.
Sure. Well, as you can see, this is an investment for residency visa. So certainly there's some sort of investment required, and we spoke about that. That investment starts from 280,000 euro. So relatively, this is a very attractive amount. While there are various options, what I like to see right in front of me here, I'm sure every one of you would agree with me, is real estate. I think some people are looking from the investment perspective, but some of the people are looking from investment plus residency perspective. Even though if you were to buy the property, from the IQI, but you decided to apply for the golden visa a year or two later, you still can do so provided the law doesn't change. Yeah. So what you could do, first of all, is to invest into the residential real estates, and this is anywhere that you like, but it has to be in the interior area. When it is a completed unit, then it is 500,000. And if it is in the interior area and in the area that is located in the low density area, there's a 20% discount and it becomes 400,000. On the other hand, you also have an options of rehabilitations investment. So just to give all of you an idea, when we talk about this rehabilitation, basically it is a project that has not been renovated, for example, for 30 years, and the developer acquired that building, is going to reconstruct internally, tear down everything, rebuild, but to maintain the facades. Yeah. So under this style of investment, it starts from 350,000, and if it is located in low density area, then it becomes 280,000. Yeah. So this is really, really attractive. Among all the investment that I'm going to be sharing later, 93% of the people were to choose the real estate. Okay. There's also the commercial real estate that you can choose to if you like to invest into the shop lots, grocery store, yeah, for example, and some sort of property that's running it for the commercial purposes, then you could choose to invest anywhere in the country, yeah, and it is not restricted to be in the interior area, yeah. So it is also 500,000 and 400,000 if that commercial property is the low density area. the likewise rehabilitation project for commercial that we spoke about. Yeah, and it is also reduced to become 350 and 280. Right. Other than this is just to give you an idea. The map of Portugal, those that that you see, that's those area that you see in red. Basically, it is for only residential, right? And then those in blue color, it is for commercial, right? So in other words, in blue color, you can't invest in residential, okay? So you can basically invest anywhere, in Portugal, so long if you go for the commercial investment. Okay. Other than property, also you have the capital transfer, and here it covers two options. One is to leave your money in the fixed deposit for 1.5 million for 5 years. Another option is to participate in the private managed fund, yeah, of 500,000. Yeah. Another options is for you to consider if you intend to run a business in Portugal, then your business will need to create 10 full-time employment. Yeah. So this is also one of the options available.
All right. Can you briefly explain about the process of the Golden Visa application? I mean, in the events that right now, any one of us are interested to go into it, and how fast is the processing time?
Sure. Well, the process doesn't take too long, as there are two parts in this whole entire process. One is to make investment decision. Another part of it is the visa application, and get your golden visa through. I would say the whole entire process probably range from about 10 months to a year, or depending on how fast, when you are able to make the investment decision. Now, we take the process very seriously, where it has a proper consultation with the client, check on their sources of fund, make sure that the eligibility is all checked, okay? And we conduct a background checks on clients before, we carry them through the whole process. And the tax file opening and the bank account opening is really the first steps of the application. As I mentioned, the programs is highly regulated. Your fund is going to be transferred from your accounts to your personal accounts in Portugal once your bank's account is being opened. You're not required, or we do help our clients to get the bank accounts open up without you traveling to Portugal. So this can be done, at your convenience. So once the bank account is open, you transfer your money across from your banks here to the Portuguese bank accounts of yours. So as I mentioned, this is such a highly regulated programs that the money doesn't, go through any third party. So you have the full control of your funds. Then, when the funds is all moved into the Portugal, say you are going to participate in a 280,000 project, then you need to move at least 280,000 into the bank's accounts. Yeah, as this is needed for the submission of the visa application. So we also carry your hand through, to identify and to get the property or the investment that you wish to invest into, right? And we will also work to support all your conveyancing work, right? Then once the investment is determined, then we carry your hand through and we file the Golden Visa application. Approximately in 3 months' time, you will get a pre-approval. That at the step 7, that is when you need to make a trips to Portugal to complete the biometrics. After the biometrics, then your Portugal Golden Visa cards will be issued to you in approximately 1 month time. From there, your 5 years of the Golden Visa status starts. Yeah, so that's kind of summarize that process, Mandy.
Wow, thank you very much, Desmond. So once you get the approval of the visa, what is the next step?
Okay, well, I mentioned about the EU citizenship earlier. Yeah, that is the end game. And I just wanted to share with all of you, I talk about EU citizenship and also talk about the ease of maintaining these programs. I want to share with every one of you here, on how, on what is the requirements after the approval of the Portugal Golden Visa. And talking about that, these programs would require you to maintain the Golden Visa status for a minimum of 5 years. During the first 2 years, you are required to spend at least 14 days, maintain the investment and free from the criminal or the clearance certificates, police clearance certificates. When you fulfill this condition, then you are entitled to obtain the golden visa for the third and the fourth year. And the same condition apply. Then you are entitled to obtain the golden visa for the fifth and the sixth years. So basically, the golden visa is issued to you in 3 rounds with 2 years, 2 years, and 2 years, in a row, each times. So on the fifth year, you must spend 7 days, maintain an investment, and free from criminal. On your 6 years, that's where you are going to decide to become a permanent resident or a citizen of Portuguese and holding the Portuguese passport. Okay. If we are looking at the requirements, that 14 days of residency requirement is easy to be maintained. Maintaining investment, when we talk about the property, it is only for 5 years after you have taken up the citizenship. There isn't a requirement for you to maintain the investment anymore. You can keep your property, for example, for those who choose the property, as it is representing 93% of the total application. I would guess that most of you out there probably choose the property. So your property can be kept for rental, short-term or long-term. Your property can also be kept for the own use, depending on your needs, for example. And then after 5 years, it's at your own discretion. And then so long you don't get yourself, a jail term, or being sentenced, as a criminal, offense, then you get your PR or citizenship after the 5 years. So that is the end game, to most of the people. Why is it so? Because when you are a Portuguese passport holder, you have the full rights to live in 27 countries, including Portugal. So these are the 26 countries that is listed here, for you to have the opportunity, and not only that, your children to have the opportunity to study and work, without having to consider any other visa, in the future. Talking about that, if your children were to choose to study in Ireland for probably the most expensive education, in Medicare, in medicines. So as an international student, that would cost you probably 55,000 euro per year. And being an EU student, just look at how much savings you are going to save from being a EU student by holding the Portugal passport.
Almost 70%
Yes,
discount.
it is 70%. It's 70% of 6 years, and I think that's going to be big amount. And in fact, the saving is greater than the investment.
Yeah, it's indeed. I mean, for those parents who have kids that would like to pursue medical or medicines,
Yes.
perhaps you should consider getting this Portugal Golden Visa to save all this easily. Like I would say, 40,000 a year minimum.
Yes, and I think that it is one of the strong push factor or motivation factors. If your kids love IT, your kids love engineering, and Portugal has so many top university. Germany is famous for the engineering. If your children are more artistic, they like music and all. Well, Europe is probably the best countries. There are so many countries available for the children to embark on that, that developments. All right. Wow, I think this is also very interesting to share about these Erasmus programs in Europe. If your kids were to decide, hey, you know what, other than Europe, but I also want to be back to Asia, or I want to be in Australia, New Zealand, or they will choose to be in United States or Canada, right? Guess what? You are basically having to pay only a local fee without being, for example, if they were to go to Australia, without being an Australia PR, they are paying a local student's fee. If they want to go to in United States or Canada, they are paying a local student's fee for United States and Canada. So this is how strong, how powerful is this whole entire golden visa is. I'm talking about this opportunity, but not just in Portugal, not in Europe, but across across the world for your children's. Yeah.
That is really great, because a lot of people right now is like, as you know, the education fees is actually has been increasing over years, and especially those families with few kids that would like to pursue the study to uni, and especially go to Europe. The course fees is actually very expensive. And this round, if you were to say that by getting this Portugal Golden Visa, not only applied to Europe country, but it applied to Asia, US, Canada, and Australia as well. That is amazing.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Mandy. Just look at the world today, so much developments, so much of surprises, and that increase the needs of having a second residency. And when it comes to second residency, it has to be a program that doesn't cost headache to maintain. Yeah. But it's also talking about, going into a country that is stable, yeah, and welcoming. And I think Portugal, have all the factors, that call, that ticks your boxes. Yeah. So in summary, I would say Portugal provides an excellent quality of life, either if you're looking from the business perspective, or you're looking at, moving there as a migrants. Yeah. The tax regime, the government has introduced a lot incentive, including attractive tax regimes for individual. Yeah, it doesn't burden you, if you are, if you're having the incomes across the world. Yeah, the global tax income, they have this non-habitual resident tax incentive that's available, yeah, for you as a migrant. The countries welcome foreign investor. All the properties are freehold, and all the property is registered under your name. You do have the control over when you want to sell, when you wanted to, to buy. And there's no inheritance tax. If you were to pass the property from yourself to your next generation, there's no tax on that. Yeah. Free movement of Schengen from the Golden Visa alone, is really, really attractive. Yeah. So that kind of, I think, kind of summarize, the session for today. Yeah, Mandy.
Yep. So for those that who's really interested to know more about this Golden Visa, you can contact Desmond directly. The email address and the contact number is here as well. So do act fast while the option is still very flexible, and the entry level is still considered relatively low. I believe that eventually when the demand is getting very hot, and I'm sure the governments will actually revise the criteria as well. Would you agree that I say that, Desmond?
Oh, yes. I've seen, like, for example, other than Portugal Golden Visa, we have been handling the Australia investment programs for the longest time. And we have seen the investment going from 500,000, 750,000 Aussie dollar, 1.5 million Aussie dollar, 2.5 million Aussie dollar. And I'm sure and very confident that, this is what you're going to be seeing, happenings on the Portugal Golden Visa over the years as well. Yeah.
Yep. Well, what an insightful information shared by Desmond, and I believe that after hearing what Desmond said, a lot of us or a lot of audience would really keen to look into the detail of this Portugal Golden Visa. Don't you all agree? I mean, if you all agree, perhaps press two, and so that you are actually excited about this program. So should you have more questions which we miss, okay, feel free to actually leave it in the comment box, or you can directly contact Desmond for more information, especially on the applications and the process of the Portugal Golden Visa. Well, I believe that having a contingency plan nowadays or obtaining a second residency is actually very popular decisions amongst not only to the Asians but to the European people as well. And for this Portugal Golden Visa, those is began in 2012, not too long, okay, but still you have more than 10 years experience, and it has actually proven to be one of the best residency by investment program in the world. So hence, don't miss these golden opportunities and start considering now. And well, if you miss any of our previous webinar, and you can see that I actually shared the two links in the comment box. You can click on it and watch the replay. Do give us lots of supports and likes by sharing our program to your friends, and in the events that you know any one of you, okay, whether your friends, your relative, or even your parents that are interested in this program, talk to us immediately. Okay. And of course, don't forget to join us this Saturday at 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8 at Facebook and YouTube. We will have another interesting sessions with Desmond to talk about an insight of popular residency program between Australia and Portugal. Therefore, mark your calendar and don't miss it. All right. So before we end these sessions, Desmond, you have any last comments or feedbacks or advice to all the audience here?
Yeah. Well, I think, over the years from the experience, my best advice to everyone out there is, when it comes to when is the best timing, to initiate or to apply for the application or the visa, the answer has always been yesterday. And why is it so? Because, as you see, the requirements becoming more stringent and difficult. Talking about this golden visa, before 1st of January, if you were to invest into the private managed fund, it was 350,000. But look at those who is doing it now, it is 500,000. So again, I think this overall, this program is a fantastic program that I make an effort to make sure that people don't overlook these programs. And I think our intent and the objective is to share these programs to as many people out there. Yeah, and Mandy, agreed with me, can't agree with me more. And we would just want to, as many people out there to learn about these programs, whether it's for family member or, for the people around you, yeah, your friends, your relative, do share with them. Yeah, for those who also wish to contact us, over the WhatsApp or ring us up other than sending us an email, yeah, our contact number is 012 6216 445. I repeat, 012 6216 445. You could also WhatsApp us. Alternatively, you could also contact Mandy or IQI and, reach out to us. Yeah, and I hope everyone enjoyed this session.
Thank you, Desmond. So one last question. Should any of our audience, okay, or any of our clients or our agents interested in this program, by watching this whole month series that we are running for Portugal, starting from last week until end of this month. So in the event anyone interested, will there be any special um, promotions from your sides? I'm actually asking on behalf of some of my agents here.
Well, I think this is a very interesting question. Of course, Mandy, we have been working together and for so many years, clients who is looking at, or any agents or any partners who is looking at these programs for themselves, we are going to be able to work on something that is, that is going to be very attractive for them. Yeah.
Okay, perhaps 15 minutes free consultancy sessions with Desmond.
Sure. I'm happy to even, give more times because, I'm so, being in this industry is really interesting. You hear about people's story, you hear about, the needs of them. And, though when we are talking about 15 minutes, but ended up, it becomes 1 hour. And this is happening all the time.
Yeah, for those who's interested to have our slide, okay, today, which Desmond actually presented, okay, please leave your PMers, okay, leave your contact number or email address. We will send you a copy. And this only applied to first 10 audience who responded to our comment, okay, then you will get this presentations slide for free. All right. So Once again, thank you very much, Desmond, for your awesome sharing. And I shall see you this Saturday again. Have a pleasant
See you
days
next week.
and cheers. Yeah, I'm Mandy
Thank
Chan
you.
signing off. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
We will rise up and see. We are strong, we are brave, we are young. Leave out your head as we take on the wall. We are one, we are all family. Though tough times come, I will not waver. We will rise and become the new God. We will stand up and rise together. We will march into victory. Hold my hand and they say we know. I do I, it's for you as it has been for me. Open your heart and know this in your soul. Our hopes, our dreams are the same. My walk and you, I will finish this race. Not alone, by myself, but with you. Though tough times come, I will not waver. We will rise and become the new God. We will stand up and rise together. We will march into victory. Hold my hand and we say we know. I do I, it's for you as it has been for me. Everyone shine. All of us there is for a reason, for a greater vision. We will stand up and rise together. We will march into victory. Hold my hand and we say we know. I do I, it's for you as it has been for me. We will stand up and